Hello, hello. Thank you for joining me. This is my final day reading the passages that are most prominent to me in book 28 of my Book a Week series, Michael Singer's The Untethered Soul. As I finished this book, a poem kept popping to mind. I hadn't read this poem in a number of years, and so this morning I opened it to reread, and it was immediately clear to me why the imagery in it kept inserting itself into my readings. So I decided that I would share it here. It's called Morning Carries Bravery in Her Basket, and it was written in early 2013. I love the morning. Anticipation, inventory, bravery. Morning carries bravery in her basket. There are barbed prongs uprooted from my skin, layers of caging removed, disillusion soothed, saved in a rattling tin can for those days when I need proof. Someone said I couldn't feel light on my cheeks because I'm bad, because I'm wrong, because I'm weak. Spirit Penitentiary has these rules that change with each move we make. Victory only comes in discarding the need to stake. What if there is no sun in my soul? I hold my breath. What if they're correct? I open the door in spite of them, in spite of myself, and step forward into delicious white, blessed. At last I'm free outside my cell. But still I stay close, feeling dirt under my bouncing frame. If only I could take my captors with me, no magnet would remain. All of me dances, even my face, even my hair. Feet drum, stamping silent cries, diffusing the mirage. I submit to a cadence my soul has always known, banishing the demons back to their home. Most of my scars are beauty marks now. Others are infected, iron slivers, bits of wood, bloody shards yet rejected. One day soon, happiness won't feel so rebellious, she whispers. Each fragment will know that self-love is not selfish. How does freedom feel, probes Mother Earth. I want to answer her with a 24-karat glimmer in my voice, and so I search. I close my eyes and I see a transgressed limp, trombones crying, transitory cacophony. And I'm inhaling and exhaling, and the shine is not in my voice, but in my tearing eyes. And I say, I'll have to get back to you on that. All I can do today is dance. Without further ado, I'll move on toward today's readings. Enjoy. Page 119. Ultimately, the word beyond captures the true meaning of spirituality. In its most basic sense, going beyond means going past where you are. It means not staying in your current state. When you constantly go beyond yourself, there are no more limitations. There are no more boundaries. Limitations and boundaries only exist at the places where you stop going beyond. If you never stop, then you go beyond boundaries, beyond limitations, beyond the sense of a restricted self. Page 121. If you really want to see why you do things, then don't do them and see what happens. Let's say you're a smoker. If you decide to stop smoking, you quickly confront the urges that cause you to smoke. These urges are the reason you smoke. They are the outermost layer of cause. If you can sit through these urges, you will see what caused them. If you can get comfortable with what you see, you will face the next layer of causation, and so on, layer upon layer. Page 125. Imagine a comfort zone that is so expanded that it can easily fit the entire day no matter what happens. The day unfolds, and the mind doesn't say anything. You simply interact with the day with a peaceful, fully inspired heart. If your edges happen to get hit, the mind doesn't complain. It all just passes through. This is how great beings live. When you're trained like a great athlete to immediately relax through your edges when they get hit, then it's all over. You realize that you will always be fine. Nothing can ever bother you except your edges, and now you know what to do with them. You end up loving your edges because they point your way to freedom. All you have to do is constantly relax and lean into them. Then one day, when you least expect it, you fall through into the infinite. That is what it means to go beyond. Page 133. If you go deep enough, you can watch the psyche being built. You will see that you are in the middle of nowhere, in empty, infinite space, and all of these inner objects are flowing towards you. Thoughts, feelings, and the impressions of worldly experiences are all pouring into your consciousness. You will clearly see that the tendency is to protect yourself from this flow by bringing it under your control. There's an overwhelmingly strong tendency to lean forward and grab onto selective impressions of people, places, and things as they flow through. You will see that if you focus on these mental images, they become part of a complex structure where there was none. You will see events that took place when you were 10 years old that you're still holding on to. You will see that you're literally taking all your memories, pulling them together in an orderly fashion and saying that's who you are. But you are not the events. You're the one who experienced the events. How can you define yourself as the things that happened to you? You are aware of your existence before they happened. You are the one who is in there doing all this, seeing all this, and experiencing all this. Page 135. The reason you built the whole mental structure was to avoid pain. If you let it fall apart, you're going to feel the pain that you were avoiding when you built it. You must be willing to face this pain. If you were to lock yourself in a fortress because you were afraid to come out, you would have to face that fear if you ever wanted to experience a fuller existence. And that fortress would not be protecting you, it would be imprisoning you. To be free, to truly experience life, you must come out. You have to let go and pass through the cleansing process that frees you from your psyche. You do this by simply watching the psyche be the psyche. The way out is through awareness. Stop defining the disturbed mind as a negative experience. Just see if you can relax behind it. When your mind is disturbed, don't ask, what do I do about this? Instead, ask, who am I that notices this? Page 142. Unconditional happiness is the highest technique there is. You don't have to learn Sanskrit or read any scriptures. You don't have to renounce the world. You just have to really mean it. When you say that you choose to be happy, and you have to mean it regardless of what happens. This is truly a spiritual path. And it is as direct and sure a path to awakening as could possibly exist. Page 147. Once you have passed through trial by fire and you are thoroughly convinced that you will let go no matter what, then the veils of the human mind and heart will fall away. You will stand face to face with what is beyond you because there's no longer a need for you. When you're done playing with the temporal and finite, you will open to the eternal and infinite. Then the word happiness can't describe your state. That's where words like ecstasy, bliss, liberation, nirvana, and freedom come in. The joy becomes overwhelming and your cup runneth over. This is a beautiful path. Be happy. Page 151. The fact is, you're generally using your will to resist one of two things, that which has already happened or that which hasn't happened yet. You're sitting inside resisting impressions from the past or thoughts about the future. think of how much energy is wasted resisting what has already happened. Since the event has already passed, you're actually struggling with yourself, not with the event. In addition, contemplate how much energy is wasted resisting what might happen. Since most of the things you think might happen never do, you're just throwing your energy away. Page 153. Fear and desire make everything seem so complicated. If you don't have fear or desire about an event, there's really nothing to deal with. You simply allow life to unfold and interact with it in a natural and rational manner. When the next thing happens, you're fully present in that moment and simply enjoying the experience of life. There are no problems. It's all about no problems, no tension, no stress, and no burnout. When the events of this world make it through you, you have reached a deep spiritual state. You can then be conscious in the presence of whatever takes place without building up blocked energies. When you attain that state, everything becomes clear. In contrast, everybody else is attempting to deal with the world around them while struggling with their own reactions and personal preferences. When a person is dealing with their own fears, anxieties, and desires, how much energy is left for dealing with what's actually happening? Page 162. If you're living every experience fully, then death doesn't take anything from you. There's nothing to take because you're already fulfilled. That's why the wise being is always ready to die. It doesn't make any difference when death comes because their experience is already whole and complete. Page 167. So where is the Tao? The Tao is in the middle. It's the place where there's no energy pushing in either direction. The pendulum has been permitted to come to balance concerning food, relationships, sex, money, doing, not doing, and everything else. Everything has its yin and yang. The way is the place in which these forces balance quietly, and indeed, unless you go out of the way, they will tend to stay in peaceful harmony. Page 169. How do you stop the pendulum from swinging to the outer edges? Amazingly enough, you do this by leaving it alone. It won't keep swinging to the extremes unless you feed the extremes with energy. Just let the extremes go. Don't participate in them, and the pendulum will naturally come toward the center. As it comes to the center, you will get filled with energy. This is because all the energy that had been wasted is now available to you. Page 171. In the Tao of sailing, the balance point is not static. It's a dynamic equilibrium. You move from balance point to balance point, from center to center. You can't have any concepts or preferences. You have to let the forces move you. In the way, nothing is personal. You are merely an instrument in the hands of the forces, participating in the harmony of balance. You must reach the point where your whole interest lies in the balance and not in any personal preference for how things should be. It's that way with all of life. The more you can work with the balance, the more you can just sail through life. Effortless action is what happens when you come into the Tao. Life happens. You're there, but you don't make it happen. There's no burden. There's no stress. The forces take care of themselves as you sit in the center. That is the Tao. It's the most beautiful place in all of life. You can't touch it, but you can be at one with it. This will be the last passage that I read from this book. I'm on page 174. What does it feel like to identify more with spirit than with form? You used to walk around feeling anxiety and tension. Now you walk around feeling love. You just feel love for no reason. Your backdrop is love. Your backdrop is openness, beauty, and appreciation. You don't have to make yourself feel that way. That is how spirit feels.